Today, we have the pleasure of hearing from Annie and Tess. Annie Hornland has been a solutions architect here at Bonterra since 2022. But before she entered into CSR software, she worked in the financial technology, payroll, banking, and cancer research commercialization. Annie lives in Minneapolis with her wife, Abby, and their 1-year-old, Lucy. And Tess here has been with Bonterra since 2021 as the Senior Product Manager for Insights, which is our embedded data visualization tool. Tess has over 7 years of experience building products for CSR professionals and has a passion for helping others to tell impactful stories with their data. And Tess is here with us from Fort Worth, Texas, and where she lives with her husband and 2 children. So thank you guys for joining us this afternoon. And I want to go ahead and pass it to our lovely speakers and presenters this afternoon.
Yep. So hi, everyone. Again, my name is Tess Otts, Product Manager for Insights. And so before we dive into today's content, it's my understanding that at least some of you, if not all of you, have recently attended some of our other webinars related to employee engagement. If so, we're very excited to have you here with us again today. But I kind of wanted to recap some of those sessions in case you missed them, and then we'll be providing some links so that you can check those out in a future watch. So we had a webinar on May 7th titled How to Unlock Strategic Philanthropy, where we covered the state of the social good ecosystem, the role that we believe that trust has played in the current ecosystem's dynamics, as well as how Bonterra's vision and roadmap plans to build that trust and provide a more connected experience for every participant involved. So then in our May 21st webinar titled How to Boost Employee Giving and Volunteering, we discussed 4 primary tips to consider when adjusting your CSR programs to boost employee engagement. So to recap some of those tips, which you see here, we discussed how important it is to truly understand your employees and the ways in which data, both qualitative and quantitative, can help to really create intuitive and user-friendly programming that meets the needs and expectations of your employees. We also discussed the importance of the direct connection to those nonprofits so that an employee's participation can really resonate with them and their interests in a safe and secure way. We talked about making the most of your matching gift programs, identifying those missed opportunities, and potentially adjusting program configurations, eligibility, or match criteria to ensure that there aren't any barriers to entry, making sure that money and ultimately impact isn't being left on the table. And lastly, we discussed the importance of building a giving-centric culture and creating a community that invests, encourages, and even celebrates giving and volunteering all throughout the year as a key element of that giving culture. So if you haven't already done so, I highly encourage you to check out both of these sessions. And if we haven't already, I believe Ashley is going to drop some links in the chat. I see she's already done that. So amazing. Thank you, Ashley. Okay, so for today's session, Annie and I are going to be demonstrating some core functionalities that are meant to really facilitate, streamline, and highlight your employee engagement programs. We'll also be providing some examples of how having the right CSR tool can help make all the difference in programmatic and providing programmatic flexibility, engaging employee experiences, and impactful and actionable storytelling that leverages the data that you're already collecting within the tool. So I'll kick us off by showing our embedded data visualization tool Insights, and then Annie's going to take it from there to show the rest of the program experiences and workflows involved. Okay, so go ahead and share my screen here. All right, here we go. Okay, so before I dive into all the fun greatness that Insights has to offer, I kind of wanted to take a quick minute to explain the benefits that leveraging a data visualization tool can provide to take what used to require hours of your time to discover totals, trends, averages through countless Excel reports, calculations, pivot tables, can really now just take you seconds and look a lot better. So by leveraging data to tell your story of impact, it can not only ground your understanding in where your programs sit today, but it can really start to act as providing those future predictions of what to expect from your programs in the future, allowing you to make changes throughout the way. Now, I am someone who is incredibly passionate about talking about data storytelling. I could spend the whole hour and more just talking to you about all the amazing ways that you can tell stories with your data, but I am sharing the floor today with Annie, so I'm going to keep myself brief, allow her to go through her portion, and then hopefully allow some time for your questions as well. So let's go ahead and dive into Insights. So Insights is an embedded data visualization tool. It sits directly within our back office tool, which means you have one login to access all of your data across all of your programs. That's really important. You're not having to jump around to different tools, one place for reporting, the other place for managing those programs. And because of that, you're not having to interrupt those workflows of, adjusting a specific record after you've discovered something in a report. It's all together and you can jump back and forth between the two very seamlessly. We're built on a modern tech stack. So we use Snowflake for our data warehouse and we use Looker for our visual analytics layer. The Insights itself is near real time. It updates up to every 2 hours, though often much less than that. Now, what you see here, this total giving dashboard, is really just one example of 15 standard dashboards that we offer right out of the box. So these are meant to be templates or starting points of exploration, and these have really been developed based off conversations that we've had with our customers, and incorporating some of the best practices with data visualizations that we've learned throughout the years. So again, these are meant to be a starting point, but all of these dashboards can easily be copied so that you have your own version of this dashboard to work in your specific data elements to tell your specific story. All right, so looking at this specific total giving dashboard here. Now, this is meant to really give just a bird's eye view of all of your programs, all of your CSR programs on a single dashboard. So as you can see here, we have giving metrics, we have matches, we have hours, and really these are you'll see these like top tiles on all of our dashboards, and it's really meant to like be punchy numbers to answer those quick questions that you get all the time. And we really want you to be able to get those high level numbers within seconds. So this type of dashboard can really help you answer questions like, which specific programs have been the most successful? So here you see a breakdown by program and the total giving by program. So you can easily see which of your programs are the most, what am I trying to say? The most blanking here. Most total giving is what I'm trying to get. That's not the word I was thinking.
Impactful, perhaps.
Yes, that is what I was saying. Yeah, thank you. Some words just don't come as you want them. Or this one right here, which organization causes have received the greatest monetary impact? Even going further down, what top 10 organizations are across all programs are most popular? So this is just kind of a quick example of the types of metrics that you can see, that you can very easily, and the questions you can very quickly answer from a dashboard like this. But since today's topic is really focused on employee engagement, I wanted to at least show that this dashboard existed, but I'm going to spend a little bit more time diving into more of our employee engagement specific dashboards. So I'm going to jump to our employee engagement dashboard. So again, along the top, you'll see those single value metrics along here to really give you those high level numbers to really help answer questions such as, how much has my employee base donated? How much have we as the company matched? What percentage of our active employee base is participating in either giving or volunteering? Or even one step further, kind of getting into the predictive analysis that can be done. How many future payroll pledges or credit card transactions can we predict that will be converted into gifts between now and the end of the year? So again, really trying to paint that picture of current and future impact in a single row of metrics. Again, we know those are the questions that you get often, so we want to make that easy for you to gather from a dashboard. Now, as we scroll down, you start to see a little bit more information about how employees are engaging. You can start to see, by program, number of employees participating by program. You can see by employee type. You can see over time your participation, where you can see those ebbs and flows of maybe that align with some outreach that you've been trying to get people into the product. You can easily see those spikes in engagement. Okay, so as we go back to the top, you'll see that we have some standard default filters in place on a dashboard. Now, these can always be adjusted as you're using the dashboard or as any user is using the dashboard. And again, if you make a copy of this dashboard, you can change those filters up however you need. But these are just, think of these as just standard out of the box default, what am I trying to say? Filters that you can adjust. All right. So, but one of the main things that I really want to highlight about Insights is really just how interactive and dynamic it can be. So to kind of showcase some of that capability, let's take a look really quick at our top 10 causes by participating employees. Now, I can see here that education is one of our top causes, and that just so happens to align with our top focus area for the company. So that's great to see. But maybe I really want to dive in further to see how engagement looks just for this specific organization cause. Now, within Insights, you can simply just click on that element of any tile visualization. And what it does is it completely refreshes the entire dashboard with that limited scope in mind. So you can easily see, again, start with that baseline dashboard opened all the way up, and then quickly add a filter based off any visualization that might speak to you. It could be this employees by employee type. Maybe you just want to look at active employees and see all of the same metrics with that filter in mind. So that really shows that we can see how all of these same metrics look only as it relates to education organizations. So this type of cross-filtering is really possible on any visualization tile on any dashboard. So it really kind of goes to show that you can have that baseline dashboard that can serve all different users for wherever their analysis leads them. Okay, looking at another example on this dashboard of the cross-filtering that I wanted to show is on a lot of our dashboards, you'll see a heat map. Now we have heat mapping capabilities for any organization address, donor address, or volunteer event address. And we can display on a heat map anywhere, anything is high level as a country or anything as granular as a county block code or a tract code. So we have wide range of ways that you can visualize locations on a map here. We also have census values being populated as well. We can show things like income level or minority percentage or tract population. So we have all of those additional advanced geographical elements that we can display as it relates to an address, and you can display those on a map as well. So to kind of just showcase one more example of the interactive capability, you know, let's say you're here and you have a specific office that you're wanting to look in Texas. Same behavior that we saw in the other visualizations. I can simply click on the state of Texas. It temporarily adds Texas as a filter to my dashboard. I don't have to have that dashboard already set as a filter. It's really dynamic in that way. And then I can, again, see that whole dashboard with that Texas scope in mind. Now from here, if I want to, I can, with that filter applied, I can go ahead and download this dashboard as a PDF or a zipped file of CSV, a zipped file of CSV files, or on a specific visualization, I can come in here and just download that specific tile. Maybe I want to put the tile into a presentation for the board, or maybe I want to put it out to my employees to really showcase the impact that they're having in this state or for this cause. So several ways that you can grab what one of these dashboards is presenting and share with the proper audiences. All right, one more example that I kind of wanted to chat through, and then I will pass it to Annie, is our advanced donor analysis dashboard. So this is a very new dashboard that we've released, and I'm very excited about it. And it's really intended to identify employee participation trends related to recency, frequency, and monetary or hour amount. This type of dashboard can really help to answer questions such as, what percentage of employees are engaging in both giving and volunteering programs? Who are my repeat or my lapsed donors, or who's not even engaging at all? All of understanding who your repeat donors versus those that aren't engaging at all might have a very different approach for outreach. And it's that information that really helps you make those data-driven decisions. What donation size tier is most common among my donors? You can see here in this donut chart, we can see we have 8% of major donors versus 30% of micro donors, and kind of what denomination that falls in, what range that donation amount falls in. Also, what age generation is most engaged? We hear a lot about the expectations of millennials and Gen Z, so it's really important to understand where your existing employee base sits within those generations and how their current engagement is performing to maybe drive additional outreach towards them specifically. Now, these are the same types of metrics that you might see in some trusted industry reports, like from Giving Tuesday, or even from our fundraising and engagement experts at Bonterra. So we've taken a lot of inspiration from what's already out there in the world, but we wanted to be able to put it directly within Insights so that you have the ability to track your data against these metrics throughout the year, to really give you the opportunity to make those changes during the year, as opposed to always having to be some sort of a look back report. Okay, so from this dashboard, let's again look at an example here. So we have some high-level visualizations up top, those punchy numbers I mentioned. But let's take a look at this donation types tile. So we can see here that 23.69% of all of my employees that have participated are actually participating in both my giving programs and my volunteering programs, versus 53% are only giving. Now, this is going to kind of show how you can start to see how their engagement might differ of these cohorts of individuals. So let's go ahead and click on the gifts only tile, or the gifts only piece of the pie. And again, my whole dashboard will refresh. Now from here, you can see what their median gift amount per donor is. So they have a median gift amount of $38. They're from a median standpoint, engaging with 3 organizations at a time. Now let's actually remove that and do the same thing for our gifts and hours. So again, we had 38 in median gift amount. But here, for folks that have both given and volunteered, we can see that they actually have a $50 median gift amount, and they're engaging with 6 organizations compared to just the 3 with those that are just giving. So this can start to tell the picture, or tell the story of donors who both give and volunteer are actually more likely to have a greater impact, donate more amount, a larger amount, and have a greater impact. So that is just one example of honestly numerous examples and ways that you can slice this data and start to answer questions about how your employees are or are not engaging with your programs. So I definitely encourage you to get some more time with this and dive in if you can. So, okay, I think that wraps up the insights portion of today's demonstration. And I think I'm now going to pass it to Annie to talk through our administrative and employee experiences. So take it away, Annie.
Sounds good. So thank you, Tess, for sharing with us about insights. Another couple of common ways I hear of clients using that insights tool is sometimes people have specific campaigns, like United Way campaigns, or like maybe they do like a mental health awareness campaign for the month of May, and they want to measure specifically against that. Those tools are absolutely, like what Tess showed you, absolutely a beautiful way to use that to measure campaign progress, because that's something that's changing day to day, that you can go ahead and share out statistics with your employees, further get them wrapped in. It's just a way to use data in a very like motivating and actionable way. And I think there's like a myriad of ways to do that via the tool. She just gave you kind of like a step into the pool of what's possible. There are so many cool ways you can use your data. And I think it's absolutely essential to lean into your data when you're designing your programs, and be willing to make changes when you see different data trends. I think it's absolutely imperative to just not argue with the numbers in front of you, listen to what they are trying to tell you, and change in order to take advantage of what they're telling you. Off my soapbox, but I'll go ahead and show you our employee engagement tool. So a couple things about this. There's a lot of different ways you can engage your employee base. The most important thing you can do is listen for feedback, whether it's from the hard data numbers you're receiving, like Tess just showed you, or you're literally soliciting feedback. But the most important thing you can ever do is actually just listen to people, pay attention to what they want to be involved in, because if you meet them where they're at, they are more likely to be excited to be engaged. So that's not within the software, but going into the software, ways you can utilize the software to help you further your engagement. So as we talked about using data. So for example, within our standard employee site environment, one thing we might want to do to make it easier for employees to engage is, one, you want to simplify the process for them as much as possible, but you use your data, such as from those insights dashboards, to maybe feature certain charities. So like, for example, Tess in one of the dashboards showed you the top 10 organizations that we've interacted with. Perhaps that's for a really good reason. Like, certain organizations have defined partnerships. Their employees really value those. They want to contribute to those. Or maybe your employees are advocating for further partnership with a certain organization that maybe isn't on your general radar. You don't have a formal partnership with them, but your employees love them. So this, using your site to be able to highlight those certain charities that your employees have indicated they do enjoy giving time and or money to, is a really easy way to say, hey, we hear you guys. You said you love giving money to the American Red Cross. And we listened, and so we're featuring that. We've heard from you that many of you have been affected by Alzheimer's, and so we would like to show our support by also supporting the Alzheimer's Association. These are very simple things you can do to show your employees you're listening. Another way to utilize these two, switch them out frequently. It's super easy to do on the back end, and with any software it should be, but pay attention. So like May, Mental Health Awareness Month. Maybe I want to go down to see cause-based things, see if I can find mental health related charities, see if our employees have already been interacting with any of them and highlight those. Then we show we're paying attention to like what's going on in the world. We know it's May was Mental Health Awareness Month, so we're choosing to feature those. Now we know it's June, it's Pride Month, we're choosing to feature certain Pride related charities, that sort of thing. There's just different ways to kind of keep it fresh, keep people excited to keep coming on here. So another thing you can do is actually run campaigns. So again, perhaps now that it's June, perhaps you want to do a Pride Month campaign. Why not, right? Employees are so excited about the various highlighted months, and you might as well take advantage of that. But there's also localized things going on. Like, some organizations we work with do like an arts month. It doesn't have to be like Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month. It doesn't have to be Mental Health Awareness Month. It can be anything, as long as your employees have indicated that they're excited about it. So lean into it. So here is an example of a campaign. One thing I can do to capitalize on our employees' interest is we can say, okay, great, we hear you. We know that mental health is super important to all of you. We've noticed that you guys have really shown interest in these particular charities. So what we've done is we've created an easy program for us to double your match dollars. That's an incentive for them to want to give to something they're already excited about. So you can make a different kind of campaign that's a close date campaign, maybe increase the match amount, maybe do a different match than a regular match. There's a lot of things you can do that you can utilize your software to streamline for you. Another thing, back to our data, solicit feedback. It's easy enough to do. You can put a submit feedback button on your website and ask your employees to provide comments. Maybe you want to make this more tailored instead of just, we would love your feedback. Maybe you want to write something like, hey, are there specific charities you guys want us to feature? Is there something we haven't featured before you would like us to feature? Like, what are we missing? Just start the conversation. It's important to at least give people the avenue, because if they're excited, you should take advantage of it. And then I've said this a few times, but it's imperative to make things easy for your employees. The easier it is, the more engaged they're going to be. I know it's a silly thing to say because, you know, in our heart of hearts, we want to do the best we can and give money, give time to charity. We want to make a difference, but we're also humans with shorter and shorter attention spans. And so the easier we can make it for folks, the better off everyone's going to be. So what I mean by that is make your site very easy to navigate. Make sure it's really clear for people to see what they're clicking on, what they're trying to get involved with. Even on this giving page, we make it really easy. You say, okay, I want to make a donation or I want to match. Super easy. if I'm going in to make a donation, another way you can make things easier for your employees is like, let's just say I wanted to go and donate via credit card. Well, I have to find my organization. That's not a big deal. I know exactly where I want to give, but I can see that they've made it super clear to me, oh, I actually have a little over $9,000 of a match left, or whatever the different match amounts you want. So great, I'm going to click on that. And then I can go ahead and easily make a gift and get it matched within the same step. Combining those things is a way to streamline your process, so people aren't just like giving a gift and forgetting to request the match, or volunteering, like signing up for a volunteer event and forgetting to log their hours, that kind of thing. So like try to utilize the features in your software that remove steps of work for your employees whenever possible, because what it means is you're going to get more data. They're going to take advantage of those match balances. You're going to get greater participation in your programs, the easier you can make it for them to stay involved. Another aspect of that too is any software you should use should send out automated emails to your employees. This is less work for your team, meaning it's just something you simply can't forget about because the system is doing it for you. And it makes it better for your employees because they're getting the nudge they need from the software. Reminders to log their hours, reminders of an upcoming event that they should hopefully show up for, confirmation that they did donate, that sort of thing. All of those are really important things to automate when possible, because automation means less work. Everyone likes less work. Easier means more participation. So, pausing from ease of use, incentives are a really big deal these days. Sometimes we can afford incentives, sometimes we cannot afford incentives as a company, but there are different things that you can do to incentivize your employees. Some of them are within the software, some of them are not. Some of our clients do things like they have different color t-shirts for every single year. So if I sign up for a volunteer event in 2024, I'll get a different colored volunteer shirt than I did in 2023. It sounds simple, but hey, if it works for your employees, it works. What you can do within a software, though, you can do different things depending on your employees. Again, it comes back down to just doing your best to understand your employees. What are they interested in? Where are they at? Certain employee subsets. So like, for example, if I think of like retail floor employees, those folks tend to not get paid very well. That's just standard. It's a job that generally pays at or slightly above minimum wage. So a lot of those folks work a lot of hours and don't necessarily have a lot of excess income to contribute. That's something to be aware of. So you're like, okay, well, if they don't have money and they don't have time, then how can we possibly get them engaged? Well, there's things you can do to be more equitable. So things like charitable spending accounts are a really popular way to increase equitable participation in programs. So charitable spending accounts, if you're not familiar, is you as a company or a foundation say, all right, we're going to give this subset or all employees X number of dollars to be used within this calendar year to give to whatever eligible charity that they would like. The purpose of these can be multifold. Some of our clients use them for new hires as a way to encourage new hires to log into the site for the first time. Some of them use them as an alternative to a bereavement program. You know how often you want to say something like, in lieu of flowers, give to charity. You as a company can support that through something like this. There's a lot of ways to get people to your site and get them involved. You can also use it as a rewards program. There's a lot of different ways to use this, and you can leverage technologies to automate it. So that's just one program. So I'll show you what this is. The charitable spending account says I get X number of dollars. Same thing where I go to our organization search and I'll find it one of the organizations I want to give to. So it says I have $250. Again, this is another ease of use function where you're always being transparent with your employees and giving them information. And I'm going to select all dog rescue. And then it just asks me like, hey, you could set it up so I have to give that $250, all of it, only one time. You could set it up so I can give in increments, minimums, and maximums. But the nice thing about software is it can force whatever rules you decide to put into place. So that's a nice thing. Sorry, I lost where I was for a second there. Another thing about this too is even on this program alone, going back to your data, So we have this lovely charitable spending account. You could go back into those dashboards and see what causes people are choosing to give company money to. Like if I just gave you $100, where would you give it? You can go see that data. Like I gave all of our 1,000 employees $100 to give out this year, and most of them gave them to animal shelters. Like maybe we should do something more formalized with an animal shelter. Things like that are things you can use. You can also provide that feedback to your employee via any of these sites. So like maybe I want to go into that insights dashboard and see like these are the top 10 charities. Maybe I'm going to download that list of top 10 charities and upload it as an image to the site to share with our employees and say, as of June 4th, 2024, these are the top 10 charities you guys have given to. There's a lot of different ways to use that feedback loop with your data and your actual like giving software that's employee facing. Another really popular incentive is called dollars for doers or volunteer grants. I'm still surprised there are quite a few people out there that don't know that this is an option, but it's a really, really great way to incentivize folks to volunteer. So like Tess was showing us earlier in that little data breakdown we had, 53%, I think it was, of employees only gave money. I think that's really common. A lot of people, it's not necessarily that they're time poor, but they're very selfish with their time. And that's not a bad thing. We need to guard ourselves. But volunteering is still really important because charities often don't have the money to afford like hiring more folks. So they rely on their volunteer bases. So we're trying to encourage people to go out there and give their time too. So a popular way to incentivize volunteerism in particular is through dollars for doers grant programs. Tons of different ways you can set these up. But the most popular basic way is you have to volunteer X number of hours. So let's say I have to do a minimum of 10 hours. And then after I hit 10 hours, I've unlocked a $200 grant. Or you can do it so that for every hour, like every hour I volunteer, I unlock $10 to give away, and I don't have a minimum. There's a lot of ways you can set these up, but what it's meant to do is be like, hey, we see you volunteering. We think that's awesome. We're actually going to match that effort with our company's dollars. And then once that happens, same thing, automated emails. They should get an automated email alerting them that they're eligible. They go in and they'll request this grant. And it's super easy. You can either make it so they have to give where they volunteered their time. That's more of an old school way of doing it, but hey, you put your money where your mouth is, right? Like they volunteered there, they should give there. That's fine. More common is to open it up though. People like open programs. The more open your programs are, the more excited they're going to be involved because they have more agency. You're allowing them to make the decision, and that's important to people. So here I'm just going to go ahead and pick people serving people. And then it simply tells me, like, depending on how your program is structured, hey, you have this much remaining, or hey, you have this set dollar amount, and make it super easy for them to participate. So that's a dollars for doers program. Again, extremely popular. One thing I didn't mention about all of the programs that we've just gone through is another way is look at your different employee types and locations. Figure out based on that who needs to be eligible for which programs, or things like you want people to be more engaged, take advantage of what they're willing to do. So like, for example, you can use your software to establish different match limits for different sets of employees. This is something that benefits you from a budgeting perspective, as well as making sure that you get maximum dollars used from that matching gifts budget. So for example, I have some clients that have recently allowed their executives a much higher match limit than their all of their other employees. The reason they did it is, despite it maybe perhaps not seeming the most equitable, is because they know that those executive folks are going to give money to charity. What they're doing is saying, you're giving this much to charity, we might as well match it. We would love to match your dollars and make sure that matching budget gets used. So again, that's an example of meeting people where they are, understanding what they will use, what can be capitalized on, and then taking action to make sure it's something available to them and easy to follow through with. Another example of incentivizing that is very easy to do and doesn't involve employees giving time or money. Sorry, it does involve them giving time usually, but it's what it is, it's called a leaderboard. So leaderboards are a really popular way to establish a sense of friendly competition. So it's not an incentive in the sense that we're giving you money for something. It's more of like bragging rights. But that can be a powerful tool. So for example, like I used to work at one of our clients actually, and we did United Way campaigns. And the way that we raised money was by department. So we had work unit locations, actually, is the better way to phrase that. And so we would do leaderboards by work unit location to see, hey, which office space has been raising the most for United Way? And we would get so into it because we would just like absolutely razz each other about it, try to see like, oh, well, I don't want this office to do better than my office. And then you just get, you get more excited about it. It feels more personal. And that's another way to like engage your employees using software. So I'll pause. A lot of ways to incentivize and engage folks here. I just showed you 3. Another important way to increase your engagement is make sure everyone's involved. Giving people agency, opening up the software to more people. Sometimes I'll find that people only want their full-time employees on this. Why not let your part-time employees on too? Maybe they don't qualify for a match, but they should still be able to volunteer. Why not? Or contractors. Maybe your contractors, you do want them to come in. Maybe they can make donations, but you don't necessarily want them volunteering. Who knows? It could be any of those subsets of different things. Open it up to people. Let them be involved. So one of the things I'll show you, speaking of expanding your reach, is many companies today are increasingly global, right? So we used to talk in a very US biased way of talking about your US employee populations, and that's becoming less and less true by the day, like most, especially with the global digital workforce. So Bonterra, for example, is a remote first company. The 3 people you're seeing here aren't near a Bonterra office. We're all remote culture. That's increasingly common. So take advantage of giving access to folks and giving them another way to feel involved in a sense of community with their workplace. Studies show that the more involved and connected they feel, the less attrition you'll have with your employees. So it's important to take advantage of that in every way that you can. But what I'm showing you right now is I'm actually creating a volunteer event. The reason I'm showing you this in particular is because I'm trying to show you that you can allow your global workforce in here to create events. Our system is enabled to make it friendly for your global workforce to be involved. For example, we have an integration what's called Charities Aid Foundation. They have a list of over 300,000 fully vetted international organizations that your employees can interact with. We also have language translation capabilities. We have things like being able to change the date format, as simple as that is, but it's really important to your global workforce. So all of that are features available on the site to make it like a more approachable, accessible experience for global folk. So take advantage. And then here are just a few examples of some of those UK charities that pop up as I've selected UK as my location. So another way we can do this is once we're actually creating an event, there are different ways to keep people involved, right? So the most common straightforward for making events is making them available for search and sign up for everyone at your company. Like I'm doing, maybe I'm doing like a learn how to foster a pet program, and anyone can sign up. It's a digital course. I don't care. Like rock on, please come. I want more people to come. Or maybe you want to do something like allow friends and family to come. If you're allowing friends and family to come, as simple as that is, people are more excited to show up if they can bring someone they love. So when possible, why not? Or simply putting, you can allow any employee group. So ERGs are the most common one we hear, employee resource groups. Maybe you have affinity groups. There's lots of different groups at an organization outside of just employee resource groups. Maybe you want to empower them to champion volunteer activities. Open it up. Let them have a say. Let them create events. Let them use the system. Here, for example, I might say that I'm with the LGBTQ network. Start that. And then I can make this, if I want to, a private event, and I have to invite everyone to join because I only want to invite people from our LGBTQ affinity group. So there are ways you can utilize the site to make people feel more connected to it and empowered by it. And I think that's really important. And then finally, too, just another example, like you want people to be involved, then again, I'll keep saying it, meet them where they're at. Our event search allows them to search by pretty much anything. They can search by causes they're interested in. They can choose their own fate here. They can choose if they want to see what you guys are choosing to highlight. They can absolutely do that. They can search based on their own skill set. They can, if they're like me and they have a small child at home and they're very restricted to certain availability windows, they can search by date and time. Or they can search by how many people. I want to volunteer with my team, and we're a 4-person team, so I'm only going to search for events that have at least 4 slots open at the same time. So a lot of different ways to do this, and a lot of different things you can take advantage of. I think the first step to doing this is knowing that it's possible. The second step is getting your information, using insights, talking to your employees, running surveys, learning, and then using what you learned to open up your programs in a way that your employees will resonate with. And then when they feel connected to it, they will be more engaged because they're excited and they feel part of it. So that was all I had to share today. Would absolutely love to talk with any of you for an extended period of time. We have a lot more we can offer. We can talk about the specificity of this and how it could relate to your own personal goals, but that is all I have to share for our lovely demo today. And I think, Ashley, if I am not mistaken, a Q&A.
Yeah, want to open it up for Q&A here. If folks have any questions related to anything that was showcased, or if you do have a question that might be better suited for a one-on-one conversation, happy to go through that as well here. But yeah, I want to open it up. I want to also open it up for a quick poll here as well. If you did see anything this afternoon that was of interest, and like I said, if you're interested in having a more personalized one-on-one conversation, I'm going to launch one last poll here really quickly, and feel free to fill that out. And like I said earlier, we'll have one of our colleagues reach out to you to kind of have that in-depth conversation. But while we wait for folks to fill out the poll and maybe drop some questions in the Q&A, just want to say thank you both for presenting this afternoon. Tess, really excited about the advanced donor analysis. I had not seen that part of the dashboard yet. So really great stuff. I'm sure there's been wonderful feedback from clients, and I'm sure that's been really helpful because I had never seen that. So great stuff there.
I'm a big fan too. That one's really cool.
Yeah, very big fan.
Mhm.
Perfect. Yeah, well, we're still waiting for folks to kind of put some questions here, if there is any questions. But Tess, I wanted to kind of open it up to you, I should say, just to provide any key takeaway for folks while we're waiting for questions.
Oh, yeah, I thought Annie might have already covered.
No, I didn't. I'm sorry. Do you want me to?
Oh, we skipped ahead.
My bad.
Well, better time than now.
I guess I will take this on then. Yeah, so key takeaways from the session in order to boost your participation. I'm sorry, I probably sound like a broken record at this point, but lean into your data. Understand your opportunities. What can you be doing better? How can you be pivoting things, and then actually do it? Design your programs to prioritize your employees. You should understand your employees. You should be trying to continually understand your employees because they're always changing. And then be aware of their variable capacities. And what I mean by that is, just like I said earlier, some people are time poor, some people are money poor, some people are both. And then trying to find creative ways to interact with them, given that understanding you have of them. The third is incentives. You can use monetary incentives, or you can use things like competition incentives, like that leaderboard. And then the fourth one is broadening the reach of your programs. So making sure everyone possible can be involved. Give more people access and give more people agency to take ownership and champion the things that they're interested in. So those are the 4 major takeaways. Unless Tess, did you have anything you would like to add to this lovely list?
I think you covered it great.
Okay, well then, yeah, I think those are the 4 major takeaways you should have from this. If you guys have additional feedback on what you think are interesting key takeaways, or if you think that there's something unique you guys are doing that we should know about, please share. We're very interested. We also like learning.
Please feel free to share. Yeah. And Tess and Annie, it looks like there's not any outstanding questions in the Q&A. So just want to thank you both again so much for your time this afternoon. It was a pleasure having you all and learning this information for myself. And I'm sure folks attending feel the same way as well. But also want to thank you all for joining us this afternoon. Thank you for your time and your engagement. And we definitely look forward to seeing you at our next session. So thank you guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Yes, hope you all have a great rest of your morning or afternoon, like I said, depending on where you are. But yes, feel free to check out our next session. We look forward to seeing you all there. Bye-bye.